Hello, hello.
You're audible, sir. You're audible. Namaskar, everybody. You're
Okay,
audible, sir. You're audible. You're audible.
okay, okay. Thanks so much. Good evening to one and all who are present here uh, in today's webinar. I wish a happy welcome to all of you to this virtual academic program organized by Fellowship Family. It is a regular program that we are here on every Sunday evening. I feel immense pleasure to welcome all the teachers, scholars, students, and lovers of philosophy who have been digitally connected with our program. Today, we have a very beautiful topic, mystery of spiritualism, and we have invited an eminent speaker of our state, Sri Bhavani Shankar Mishra sir. I welcome him and I convey my pranam to him. I can also see the faces of the senior teachers of our state, Professor Ranjit Ghosh, our teacher, Professor Saroj Kumar Mahanti sir, Brindavan Ratha sir, and so many others. I convey my pranam to them because they are the strength of this webinar. They have been supporting us for a long time, and we are able to conduct all kinds of webinar during the pandemic because of their moral support and presence in the webinar. And today, before inviting our today's speaker, Sri Bhavani Shankar Mishra sir, it's my pride privilege to speak a few words on his activities, on his life, on his mission. You know, Sri Mishra is now working as the president of Chidananda Mission, Odisha chapter, and Sri Mishra was as the chief architect by profession, but he the real architect of spiritual awareness by profession, by passion. And he's one of the regular speaker. You can know very well that he is one of the regular speaker of OTV program on the theme Sarve Bhantu Sukhino. So when we see him in the program Sarve Bhantu Sukhino, and we have been greatly benefited by his talk, by his advice, by his message to the society. So our hearty gratitude to Sri Mishra sir for his lifelong mission to change the society, to bring an immense change in the personality of the human beings that we live today. And you know, recently Sri Mishra was invited to deliver a talk on yoga practice in our daily life, sponsored by Indian Council of Philosophical Research, New Delhi, and it was organized by Noyagad Autonomous College, Noyagad, and we are fortunate to listen his talk in the webinar. You know, Sri Mishra loves yoga and lives in yoga. Yoga practice is his daily life, and he wants to convey the message of yoga to the society, to change the society, to bring any kind of change to yoga. And Mishra sir is very pragmatic in his outlook, in his attitude, in his perspective. By yoga, Mishra sir means the psychophysical discipline which is to be practiced in every moment of life. Yoga for him It is not confined to any day or divasa or any moment. Yoga for him is the existential discipline of every moment of life. And Mr. Sir has been teaching yoga, both the theory and practice, since 3 decades. He loves mankind, he loves the society, he loves the people of a downtrodden society, he loves to serve the society, he loves seva or the service to mankind in thought, speech, and action. So in this way, Mr. Sir is very pragmatic in practicing the spirituality into action, into day-to-day life. Our charity begins at home. So spiritual sadhana begins from minute services of mankind in thought, speech, and action. Mr. Sir is the founder of, Chidananda Hospital near Chatia, where patients are given free treatments and all health care. This is the greatest contribution of Mr. Sir to our society, and his personality is a divine architecture which is completely glorified by philanthropic activities and empathetic sentiments. I welcome, sir, I welcome Srita Bhavani Shankar Mishra sir to this webinar program. And today it is fortunate that he is with us to speak a few words on the mystery of spiritualism, and he is practicing spirituality in his life. He wants to transform the society through yoga, through spiritualism, and today he is the right person who is with us to speak on the right topic. And I also welcome our host, our admin, our convener, Professor Pramod Kumar Das, Head Department of Philosophy, Noyagoda Autonomous College. Today he is hosting the program and he will present the synopsis at the talk of Mr. Sir. And Dr. K. Umnam Rao is with us. He is the Head Department of Philosophy, Niranjan Government Women's College, Aska. Today he is with us, and in the next part of the program, he will moderate the introductory session. I welcome him, and with this, once again, I welcome all the teachers, students, scholars, and lovers of philosophy who are viewing this program and who will be a part of our program. I welcome all of them, and I welcome Mr. Sir to this webinar to commence his speech. Okay, pranam sir. Pranam sir. Over to Srita Mr. Sir.
Pranam. Jai Jagannath. Om Namo Narayana. Thank you very much for this beautiful opportunity to share a few words and about my thoughts to all the esteemed listeners and guests in this webinar program. I'm really honored to be here. And on a lighter note, I would like to, add a simple line that a lot of things I came to know about myself today. So, what Arya sir said, actually he has slightly exaggerated a lot of things about me. I am just a very, very simple, humble servant of the Lord, and a very, very insignificant person in the society. And I always consider myself as just Mr. Nobody. So I do not own anything that I have done till date. I disown everything what I have done till date, because I want to remain clean. I don't want to get the burden of certain karmas which this body has performed in the past. So actually speaking, this humble servant does not own anything and has not done anything. Now coming to the topic, today's topic, that is mysteries of spiritual life or spiritualism. Now the question is, what are the mysteries? A lot of people, they get highly confused that what is spiritual life. what is a secular life, what is a religious life, and what is a righteous life. Actually, we should understand that the spiritual life begins when religious life ends. Or, in other words, when religious practice ends, spiritual life begins, or spiritual practice begins. A lot of people, they get confused and they mix up both the activities. They mix up both the practices. The religious practice is actually recommended. It is advised by our saints and sages and prophets. Certain religious practices has been mentioned in all our ancient scriptures. So those scriptures, they set right certain ways of life, religious life. And in those religious life, religious practices are advised as mandatory activities in our daily routine. Now, why it is done? The sole purpose of this religious life, to lead a religious life and to practice certain religious activities, is to train your mind. Once you have trained your mind, once you have trained your body, you have trained your emotions, and you know how to handle your own energy, then your spiritual life begins. Then the spiritual practice begins. Now there is a mystery, and there is also a belief that by doing certain things, you can reach God. As all of us know, the goal of this life is God realization or self-realization. Every individual, every human being, those who have taken a body here and working in this world, living in this world, the first and foremost duty of that particular individual being is to work towards merging with God. Atma Sakshatkar, Bhagavad Prapti, Ishwar Sakshatkar. This should be the goal of life. So the individual soul should merge with the divine soul. Or the individual being should be one with the supreme being. Taku ame mane kouche nirbana ba mukti, emancipation, liberation. And that emancipation and liberation from the cycle of birth and death, how it is possible? It is possible when the individual being gets totally connected and dissolved and absorbed in the supreme being. So then there is no question of rebirth. The whole practice of religious life, which leads to spiritual life, the main aim is to merge with the supreme soul. Now the mystery is that a lot of people think that if you wear certain kind of robe, if you put tilaka on your forehead, if you smear ash on your body, or if you go to Himalayas, or if you wear a japamala or beads, then you are a great spiritual being. That is not correct. It is only an outer representation of someone's life, which may be true, may not be true. Now, when the spiritual life begins and how to get merged with God, which is the ultimate aim, there are certain yogic kriyas and yogic practices which has been recommended. Some of the yogic kriyas and yogic practices have been kept secret because these yogic practices and yogic kriyas have got certain side effects also. A lot of people, they say that they do regular meditation. As most of us we know that meditation is like playing with fire. If you are meditating means you are playing with fire. So unless and until you are physically fit, you are mentally fit, you are emotionally fit, and you are energy-wise fit, you should not meditate. So to start the process of meditation, which leads to your samadhi. So in Ashtanga Yoga, last yoga that we discussed that the most three crucial steps in a spiritual life is dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So dharana is power of concentration, dhyana is a state of awareness, and samadhi is super conscious state. Only through samadhi or nirvikalpa samadhi, there are also different types of samadhi, savikalpa, nirvikalpa, sapragyata or sapragyata samadhi. So only through nirvikalpa samadhi you can be one with God. Now the mystery is, without entering into the samadhi, we cannot be one with God. But a lot of us, we do this mistake. We keep ourselves limited to certain activities, which is the process, which is only the steps, but we do not go to the last stage of practice. Or we do not complete the whole cycle. We do not complete the whole process of spiritual life. In a religious life, you are said that you should get up early in the morning. You should do all the three sandhyas, early morning, afternoon, and in the evening. You should not eat this, you should not eat that. You should go to temple, you should serve others. You should have vairagya, that is dispassion. We should have vichara, the right spiritual inquiry. And you should also develop viveka, the power of discrimination. So these are all certain religious rules and observances. You should fast on Ekadasi. And there are so many, you should go for a pilgrimage. You can do the Char Dham. You have to serve your neighbor. You have to serve the poor and needy and sick and downtrodden. So these are all special religious observances, rules and regulations of a religious life. You have to go to temple regularly. You have to do certain bhajan and kirtan. You have to live a very, very simple life. Now, all these practices, what exactly they do? So, if one understands what is spiritual life, then the equation and the formula is very simple. It's very simple. If you understand half of it, then spiritual practice is highly complicated. You can never understand where it begins and where it ends. So fundamentally, one should be very keen and clear about what is spiritual practice. Once you know the spiritual practice, the process, the rules, the regulations, and the theory and philosophy behind it, then the whole process becomes very simple. Otherwise, what happens? A lot of people, they do japa. After some years of repetition of mantra, they will learn, no, then japa, there is no God relation. I should go for Jnana Yoga. Then they will go to Chinmaya Mission, or they will go to Ramakrishna Mission and buy a truckload of books. They will study all the scriptures, all the Vedas, Vedantas, Upanishads, Brahmanas, Samhitas, Smritis. And after 7-8 years, then they said, ki wherever I was, I am still there. I am not progressing. Then they will again shift to somebody else. Then they will say, no. Paramavatar Babaji Maharaj has said, and Yogananda Paramahansa has said, that Kriya Yoga is the surest and safest way to reach God. So let me do Diksha on Kriya Yoga. Then a lot of people join Kriya Yoga. After doing some years Kriya Yoga, again they are not satisfied. Then they will go, no, I will go for now Bhakti Yoga. Then they will join a Sankirtana Mandali and do Nagar Kirtan every day in the morning or in the evening. So this is like, digging well at different places, and after digging half, you leave the job and then you say there is no water. So to get petrol or crude oil, you have to go thousands and thousands and thousands of meters deep. Then only you get petrol or crude oil. From where you refine, then you get whatever is the end product, diesel or petrol. Similarly, digging at different places will not take you anywhere. You have to understand the science behind it. Now let us talk a little bit about science behind it. For example, let us consider any Sadguru. Now, as you know, there is a Siksha Guru, there is Diksha Guru, then there is Sadguru, and then there is Parama Sadguru. Now, these are different hierarchies and different levels. Anytime in this world, there are 51 God realized saints. and 6 Sadgurus and 5,000 Siddhas. These people, this Parama Sadguru and God realized saints and 5,000 Siddhas, they operate the whole world. They operate
Please
the
keep
whole-
silence. Please keep silence.
They operate the whole world. If there is a tsunami, if there is a pandemic, if there is anything else, any happening, if there is an earthquake, if there is a war, anything, you may laugh at me, but everything is known to them and everything is being operated by the command of God. Directly from the command of God flows to the Param Sadguru, Sadguru transfers it to Param Sadguru, transfers it to Sadgurus, Sadgurus to 5,000 God realized saints, the God realized saints, 51 God realized saints, then it is transferred to 5,000 Siddhas. That is how the whole worldly affair is managed spiritually in the cosmos. Anytime in the world there are 6 Sadgurus. So who is a Parama Sadguru? A Parama Sadguru is a person who can make a dead man alive. And Sadguru is a person who can hold somebody's hand and take him to God, or give him the experience of realization of God. Give him the experience of what is God realization, or that super conscious state. So let us talk little bit scientifically now. If you consider any of the Param Sadguru or Sadguru, we have noticed they have fantastic powers. They can do anything possible. They are clairvoyant, they are clairaudient, and they are omnipotent, omniscient, they are omnipresent also. Neem Karoli Baba used to be present at 5 different places. Shirdi Sai Baba used to be present at 2 different places at the same time. There are so many saints and sages and prophets in this world who had these extraordinary qualities. Now let us see what is the difference between one human being and another human being. Do you think somebody has got 5 hands and 4 hands and somebody has got 2 hands? Or do we think that I have 2 legs and he has got 4 legs, that is why he is superior to me? Or someone has got 3 eyes, I have got 2 eyes? No. Everyone in this world with a physical body is almost look alike, barring the color of the skin, of course, and the external appearance. But the limbs are the same, the internal organs are same. Everyone has got a heart, a liver, a kidney, a lungs, rectum, everything, and the brain also. Now, what is the difference? Why do we say that a great scientist like Albert Einstein or a great man like APJ Dr. Abdul Kalam, what is the difference between he and us? Now, the difference lies only here. And what is that? That is the brain. So the quality of brain decides the quality of life. And the quality of brain decides the quality of that human being, the capacity of that human being. So we are all different from each other because the level of brain operation, the level of development of the brain of individuals are different. So let us take an example of, let's say, Yogi Sri Aurobindo, or say Ramakrishna Paramahansa, or Ramana Maharshi, or let's say Tarayana Swami. What is the difference between them and us? They had such powers and such capacities and capabilities which we do not possess. And what was the reason behind it? It is not that their physical brain was bigger than our physical brain. It is bigger, it is the difference is the efficiency of the brain, the workability of the brain, or the working pattern of the brain, or you can say utilization of the 100 billion neurons which is there. The utilization of the capacity of the brain, that is the difference between them and us. In case of a supramental being, now we are all Homo sapiens. As we know, the human race is gradually developing. If you remember, when you were studying in standard 7 and whatever we were reading, now you take an example of a boy or a girl studying in standard 7 and the amount of courses he or she is covering, the amount of informations the brain is processing, and the type of questions they are answering in the 10th standard. We should do it in graduation. but they are doing it very comfortably. So as time passes, even the quality of the brain, it also develops. So 30 years back, 40 years back, the human brain and today's kids' human brain, there is a difference. There is a difference in the efficiency. So it is in the natural evolution process, we are all moving forward. And on that principle, Yogi Sri Aurobindo said that the next breed of human beings will be supramental beings. No, what is that supramental beings? It will be superhuman being kind of a thing. So whatever they think, it will manifest. Whatever they want, they can get. Anything they want to materialize, they can materialize. Anything they want to teletransport, they can teletransport. If any one of you have read autobiography of a yogi, when Yogananda went to his guru's guru in Mansarovar, China, he left his diary. So his grand guru said, don't worry. So he teletransported his personal diary from his home from Calcutta and gave it to him. So this supramental human being race will have these qualities and capabilities. How it is possible? Because it is emphasized that the capacity of the brain or the working style of the brain or the efficiency of the brain will gradually increase by evolution process. It is not a intentional, deliberate working out of the brain. So the way we are working out physically, going to a gym, are we working out intentionally, deliberately on our brain? No, we are not doing it. So the difference between a Sadguru and a common man is the quality of brain. We are talking more in terms of medical science, or say logically. Because these are the mysteries of spirituality. We think that if you go to some kind of temple and call 100 persons, those who are sitting outside, poor people, and give them food, we say we have started a spiritual life. That's the basic. That's the basic, what the religious life says us. So I am calculating from top to bottom. So in order to have a brain of fantastic capacity and capability, something like a supramental being, something which the Sadgurus they have, how it is possible? If you can develop your brain. How it is possible? If you see all the latest doctors, neuroscientists, people dealing with neurology, neuroscience, a lot of people have been doing a lot of experiments. If you go through the documents, you'll know that people, those who are Zen masters, Japanese Zen masters, or Japanese meditators, or Indian meditators, those who meditate regularly, they have noticed words like great yogi Vishwamitra. He saw the Akashic record, that Bhurbhuvasva Gayatri Mantra. So he is known as Mantra Drashta, not Mantra Srashta. So these are all possible when the brain is tuned, activated, and operated at a highest level. And it is only possible when you focus at the brain. It is not that you have to operate the brain, or it is not that you inject some steroid into your brain. If something goes wrong into the brain, what happens? Then we call the person mad. And he's taken to a doctor, and what the psychiatric doctor does? He gives an external energy or external stimulant, a sub kind of external force, which rearranges the permutation and combination of the brain cells. That is known as electric shock. A coordinated, regulated external electrical shock is given to the brain, and because of that, the patient may become better or the patient may become worse. In Yogic Kriya, a meditation is a very regulated, mild, very, very slow daily external stimulant which increases the capacity of the brain, activates the brain cells, and you become gradually you become a supramental being or gradually become a superhuman being. That is how spiritual practitioners, they do 10 things at a time. They remember a lot of things. They can say what is happening at the future, or they can say what they can see, what is the person is, whether I'm sitting here and somebody is wearing a red dress or red shirt at Delhi, a yogi can say that. How does it happen? It is because of the capacity of the brain. It has got everything in the brain. Because we are part of that individual, we are individual spark of supreme spark. And this cosmic intelligence who has created the whole universe is so intelligent, and we are part of it, so we are also intelligent. Only thing is that we have not uncovered or discovered our capacity. We have taken it for granted that our limitation is only this much. We cannot become more efficient than this. So in order to activate the pineal gland, where your serotonin, melatonin and dimethyltryptamine, the DMT secretion is very, very important. As you know, melatonin that regulates sleep, your sleeping pattern. If there is a problem in the melatonin secretion, then your sleeping pattern will get disturbed. Serotonin is a feel-good factor. When you are very happy, serotonin secretion is there. And DMT, dimethyltryptamine, is responsible for all your psychological or your extraterrestrial or your extra spiritual experiences, what you get. So in order to do that, your pineal gland has to get activated. And how to activate your pineal gland? When you focus at the pineal gland. That is why yogis say, अपने तीसरी आंख पे ध्यान लगाओ. Focus on your trikuti. That is the center between the eyebrows. Actually, between center of the eyebrow, there is pituitary gland. Nothing happens there. You have to go 2 inches inside to the pineal gland, which is known as the third eye. And the doctors, those who are here, those, if you ask them, they will say the pineal gland is almost like a replica of the anatomical type of the eye. It has got a vitreous fluid also. It is also very soft like an eye. So that is why it is known as the third eye. Now the problem is when you want to focus on the pineal gland and you want that the secretion of serotonin, melatonin and DMT has to happen, and you grow spiritually, you have spiritual experiences, you get into ecstasy, you are in a blissed out state, you are in a joyful state, you are in a fantastic elevated state, you are so calm, so poised, so happy, so balanced, so illumined. But the problem is that we cannot focus on the pineal gland because we have not paid our last year income tax. We have cheated in our GST bill. We have acquired somebody else's land and we have fought with our neighbor yesterday. And we have 20 pair of shirts and clothes. So as long as you are in this world, as long as you are becoming more cunning, more intelligent, like a jackal, Sugana Buddhi or Kaka Buddhi, as long as you are crooked, as long as you are complicated, as long as you are a hypocrite, you cannot focus in the pineal gland because your mind will roam around like a mad monkey. Mad drunken monkey. You can never focus. Then how it is possible? The whole mystery of spiritual life is to train your mind. That is known as, first is purification of the mind, then comes training your mind. If mind is within your control, and you know that I am this body, I am not this body, I am not this mind, not this emotion, not this intellect. I am the Nitya Suddha Chirantana Sachidananda Swarupa Atma. Mind is my instrument. Then gradually you will know how to train your mind. And to train the mind, the whole religious process is there. Get up early in the morning, help your servant, help your neighbors, serve the poor, go to temple, go to better environment, don't eat too much of garlic onion, don't eat too much of non-veg, don't get angry. Gradually, after years of religious life, your mind gets purified. Chitta Suddhi. Your mind gets calm. your mind remains within your control. So when your mind gets within your control, then you say your mind, oh mind, please don't mind what I am doing. Don't try to distract me. Now I am ordering you, sit in Padmasana and focus on my pineal gland. I want to meditate. After years of practice, after years of gamma rays emission, after years of gamma activities inside your brain, when the cortex increases, all the lobes gets activated. Then you become one day, suddenly there is a blast inside your head and you enter into a state of illumination, enlightened, realized. That is what is the secret of spiritual life. How it is possible? There should not be an iota, a smallest item, a smallest factor, a smallest element in this whole world where your mind can get distracted. There is a very nice story for a sadhu, and the title of the story is Kaupni ke Vaste. How to, getting attached to one particular leon cloth. Kacha, jangya ja kouche ame, Kaupni. गोटे कौपुनी अटाचमेंट को लेकिन गोटे लोक केमती गृहस्थ की बाचा है कि पिला छुआ कर फसीगला only because of one underwear garment. So remember, a real yogi who is not a hypocrite, who really wants God realization and who really understands the science of spiritual life, it is very simple for him. He knows, I have to train my mind, I have to purify my mind, I have to focus my mind between the eyebrows, on the pineal gland, and get my DMT secretion, enter into a state of ecstasy, emit my gamma activities for years together, and one day I am one with God, and I become God, and I am God. Very simple, very simple. But as long as you are entangled in this world, that is why, there is a very nice saying. Before God realization, you chop wood. After God realization also, you chop wood. तामने जे काठ कटाली God realization पूर्व भी काठ हाणुतला. After God realization also, he will start chopping wood only. There is no difference. Once you are God realized, you are a guru, sadguru. Two horns doesn't come up. Dita singo badi jayeni, 10टा मुंड हो जाएनी. सीए जदि मांस कटाली थिबो सदन कसाई भलिया, he will be cutting meat only, he will be serving meat only. If he is a blacksmith or a goldsmith, after God realization, he will do goldsmith work only. Or let's say if he is an engineer or architect like me, after God realization, he will become an architect only. He will not become somebody else. But the problem lies where? The problem lies, you cannot put both your legs in both the boats. So during the course of practice, you have to enter into seclusion. You cannot say, I will still become a member of such and such club, and at the same time I will enter into deep state meditation and DMT secretion will be there and I will become a great guru. First of all, one has to drop all the ideas of guru. As I said very earlier, what Arya sir said about me, I was really surprised that am I that person? Because I think I am just a nobody, I do not exist. Nahan karta hari karta, yad yad karma karomi tadaklam sambodhava arada. The moment you exist, God does not exist for you. When you say may, then he is not there. When you say I, then he does not exist for you. God does not exist for you. Kabir said very nicely. जब मैं था तब हरि नहीं, अब हरि है तो मैं नहीं. When I was there, Hari was not there. Now Hari is there, so I have vanished. I am no more there. So this I is the biggest problem. And that I stops you to enter into a deep state meditation. And as I said earlier in the last talk on the yoga day, Now the secret is to enter into that state that I do not exist. How do you know? How do you reach that state? For that, the whole process has to be practiced. And it cannot be practiced just for 6 months or 8 years. Even if it is practiced for 40 years and you get it, then you are the luckiest one. Because you have to take 6 to 8 lakhs of birth, physical body, human body, to reach God. If you get it in 1 lakh birth, that means you are a great man. If you get it in 1,000 births, then you are a greatest man. And in this very birth, if you are God realized, means you are the most fortunate and the most beloved son of the Holy Father. So if you are aware about all these things, then you work everything mechanically. Because you have given your mind to the Lord and your hand to the world. Whatever the hand is doing, let the hand do now. Don't bother what the hand is doing, what the eyes are doing, what the nose is doing, what the mouth is doing. Do not register it. Do it mechanically. But inside your mind, you know, I am the most fortunate son of my Holy Father. I have to go back to my father. Imagine a small boy of 8 years old, 10 years old, is lost in Kumbh Mela, loves his father so much. And somehow they got separated inside Kumbh Mela. What do that 8-year boy will do? Imagine. That boy will run around crying, asking everyone, please show me my father, please show me my father. I do not know the address, I am lost. Where is his house? Please take me to police station where the police can at least find out my father. He becomes desperate. He wants to go back to his father. Are we desperate like that? Are we desperate? Or we just want to talk about spiritualism over a cup of tea and a nice good day biscuit? So it is not easy. So the mystery is very simple. Want to reach God? You have to renounce everything. If somebody says that like a lotus leaf, you can remain inside the world at the same time outside the world. In Odia we call it koi patra bhaliya. Pokhari thaiki pavan apanku pani apanku chuibo nahi. It is not possible for us. It is possible for great, great yogis. Juga janma jo mane. Those who are sadhak right from their birth, those who have finished everything in their past birth, only have come here to give the exam and get the certificate. They have finished their degree, everything. It is possible for them. For people like us, it is only to convince your mind, we say that such and such person had said, you can stay inside your family, you can stay in this world, you can do your work, at the same time you can become a supramental being. Absolutely false. It is possible that you grow gradually. But to reach that state of illumination, enlightenment, except except one lion cloth, that also for government you require, because the government will arrest you, police will arrest you if you move around naked. Nothing should be there. Your mind only thinks about your father, morning, afternoon, evening, morning, afternoon, evening. You are not bothered about the food, you are not bothered about shelter. Your mind fits into the groove. You are always connected with the center of the brain on the pineal gland. You are drinking the nectar of Amruta Pana Jahu Kondi. Brahmarandraru Amruta Rasa Jhare. Jogi mane taku pana karanti. It is said in scriptures. So that is the DMT. So 24 hours, you are always immersed in God. You are drinking the nectar of the DMT. You have got absolutely no binding in this world, and you have got absolutely no problem from this world. You are absolutely not entangled with any of the issues of the worldly life. Then one day, the 100 billion neurons, they start working, and you are one with God. And that is why it is said that ईश्वर अनुति प्राप्त करना लोहे का चना चबाने जैसा है. And if you start doing meditation without the initial preparation of yama niyama, then what happens? There is a side effect. You get all kind of negative thoughts, because those negative tendencies which is there for so many births, they are not purified, because chitta suddhi has not yet been done. It is not yet been purified. When you put manure and you give nice fertilizer like meditation, all those negative qualities, negative tendencies, they start growing very fast. That is a lot of, Swamijis or say Babas, last few years they got arrested. What happened actually? It is not that they were all fools. It is because before doing the Chitta Suddhi completely, they started giving the fertilizer of meditation. So all the negative tendencies, they started growing fast, and the divine qualities, they did not grow. ଧାନ କିଆରୀରେ ଆପଣ ଯଦି ମାରିଦେବେ ସାର, ବାଳୁଙ୍ଗା ନ ବାଛିକି, ବାଳୁଙ୍ଗା ତକ ବଢିଗଲେ, ଧାନ ଗଛ ମରିଗଲେ. And this, if it is done in 10, 20, 30 births, then you are a fortunate one. So imagine, are we so serious about finding out our father? Like a boy who is separated from his father in some place like Kumbh Mela. Every day, are we that desperate? Or we still think that we will live another 100 years or 20, 30, 40 years. Tomorrow I will do. Day after tomorrow I will do. After my retirement I will do. After I get my CPF, GPF pension, then I will do. God also, wants bodyguard, those who are young, fit. At a very old age, if you go to God and say, oh God, I have come here to serve you. He said, what you will serve me? You require now service. Because your body is so old. When your body was young, why didn't you come to me? Then you could have served me. Nevertheless, there I durustai, in whatever position, whatever situation, whatever status, and whatever configuration of life we are in, we can thrive, we can try, we can endeavor to lead a spiritual life. Religious life is not very important. Like, like in flying, what we do normally, when the aircraft takes off, there is a certain amount of speed required for the aircraft to get airborne. Like for a Cessna 172R, it has to run on the runway about 55 knots. After 55 knots, you have to pull the control column, then the aircraft takes off. I know a little bit because I am also a pilot. My hobby is flying. So once the aircraft becomes airborne, then the ground is no more required. Airport is no more required. The runway is no more required. Because the aircraft is already airborne. The aircraft is now floating, flying in the blue sky, vast sky. Similarly, when your mind is purified because of some religious practices and you enter into spiritual life, then for a Brahmin also this Poita is no more required. This Tidaka is no more required. This Veda chanting is also not required. Because once he enters into spiritual life, he enters into silence. He laughs at everything. He looks at everything and laughs. Kya ho raha hai ye? Ye kitna maya hai? He is fighting for Padma Shri. Other one is fighting for Padma Bhushan. He is fighting for a Nobel Prize. But everyone has forgotten their father. That is, they have lost their father in the Kumbh Mela. So the mystery lies here. The equation is very simple. You have to do practice, practice, practice. Initially physically, then emotionally, then mentally, then energy-wise, and then enter into deep state meditation, and then enter into a super conscious state. Then enter into a Kaivalyatita avastha, and you become a Sadguru. When you are one with God, then you are God. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If I have said anything wrong, please forgive me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello. Thanks so much, sir,
Thank you.
for your nice way of presentation. today you have presented your talk very scientifically, and the way you presented the entire topic on the mystery of spiritualism,
Spiritualism.
it has made us speechless. And for the first time, I have heard topic on the mystery of spiritualism, where you have presented the entire topic with very scientific approach, and the analytical and the pragmatic way of explanation of brain and the development of brain in order to reach out the supramentalization or supramental being is very beautiful. And you have also explored the development of brain in regard to the guru and the sadguru, as if they are connected with the internet connection, and it is to show the dignity and show the honor to the great guru Sri Aurobindo, because Sri Aurobindo has for the first time declared the supramentalization of human being, and you have very excellently analyzed and explored and manifested the development of human brain in such a way. I have no words to explain the way you have explored the development of human brain, the relation of Guru, Sadguru, and the Supreme Guru, and lastly, you have advised us only to practice and practice the noble way of spiritualization, where you have made everything clear and manifested the secret of mysticism. Thank you very much, sir. Now, open to Professor Pramod Kumar Das, sir, for presenting the brief synopsis of the talk of Mr. Sir.
Very beautiful talk. We are all grateful to Sujukta Bhavani Mishra sir. Sir started his talk with a very humble statement that I am Mr. Nobody and I don't want to own my karma. So from this statement we can imagine the spiritual quality of a personality. It is not important what is said by somebody, it is important who is saying. So we are really enlightened by the very meaningful, significant talk of Sujukta Mishra. Sujukta Mishra made it very clear that we should not confuse a religious practice with spiritual practice. It is very easy to be involved with different religious practices because we belong to different religious beliefs, religious groups, and that is not a spiritual practice. If we follow the spiritual religious rituals only to please God or only to follow the principles of our religious system, that is dogmatic, because without proper understanding the real purpose of our life, any activity, maybe it is religious activity, that is meaningless. So proper understanding of life, proper understanding of the goal of life, that the ultimate goal of life is Atma Sakshatkar, as sir said, when the individual consciousness is merged with the cosmic consciousness or universal consciousness, that is the ultimate goal of life. If we do not understand, if we do not realize our purpose of life, then we are going like a rudderless ship in a big ocean without direction, without any direction. We are just living mechanically like animals and plants. So proper understanding is necessary, and that is possible by spiritual practice. Yes, we may follow certain religious disciplines, our daily activities, that is good, that is conducive for our physical health, mental health, spiritual health, but that should be backed by our proper realization of the purpose of the goal of life. The second thing sir highlighted, that meditation is not the starting point of spiritual practice. That we generally commit that mistake. We think by yoga we mean that meditation, that we start from meditation. So meditation is also not possible without understanding the purpose of life and without disciplining our minds. Therefore, in Patanjali Yoga, meditation comes after Jama, Niyama, Pratyahara. After so many steps, meditation comes. So meditation is not the beginning point of yoga. Meditation, evening meditation is not the last point. The last sadhana is samadhi sadhana. That is the ultimate goal of life. That is the mystery of spiritual practice, spiritualism. And meditation is also not the starting point. Our mind should be qualified to meditate. And mind cannot meditate. Our mind cannot be meditative when it is not free from the external world, free from unnecessary possessions, free from sense of agency. That is called pratyahara. So after pratyahara, there comes dharana and dhyana. So pratyahara is very necessary. Aparigraha, non-possession, that we should not possess too much, and we have to renounce everything that our mind should be, because our mind should not be identified with what is not mind. So mind should come back to its own stance. Then only mind can be qualified, mind can be ready to do meditation. The mind that is held, that is called dharana. After pratyahara that comes dharana. So in pratyahara, the mind is ready, the mind is convinced to renounce everything. Mind is free from everything. But in dharana, mind is qualified to hold itself. Otherwise it will again be inclined towards the material world. So we have to hold our mind, and that mind which we have held with strong spiritual conviction and strong spiritual practice, that mind is able to meditate. And sir said that the secret of spiritual practice, spiritualism, is samadhi. We start with meditation and we end with meditation, and we claim that we are the human, we are doing yoga. Yoga does not start with meditation. yoga does not end with meditation. Yoga starts with physical and mental disciplines, that is Jama and Niyama, and yoga ends with samadhi. So it is a very wrong conception that we understand by yoga, that yoga starts with meditation and ends with meditation. So samadhi is the ultimate goal of that is the secret of human life, that is the secret of spiritualism. And we all have the same biological part, that is called brain. Biologically it is the same, but qualitatively it is different. Its function is different. Its dynamism is different. And we have different types of brain, and therefore we have different types of brain activities. That is what is the difference between a common man and a seer. That is the difference between Vivekananda and we. Sri Aurobindo, Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, and Ramana Maharshi, and we common people. But we all have the same biological brain, but by spiritual practice, we have trained our brain, we have cultured our brain for assimilating, for understanding, for making it more useful for a spiritual life. And that is possible when we shall not give excess burden to our brain. So we should not possess too much, and we have to know how to renounce everything. And scientifically sir said about pineal glands, so I shall not go to that in details. And at the last sir said that if a man is trained, if a man has been able to train his mind, that he can be present at different places at the same time, though it may appear to be impossible or impractical, but this is yogic sadhana. By that yogic, that is the dynamism of human mind, that is the possibility of human mind, and we can do 10 or 20 different things at one time, and we shall never feel tired. That means when we see someone doing some work tirelessly, we get surprised, but that is the mystery of yogic sadhana, yogic principle. So I really enjoyed this talk. It was very nice. Now it is open for discussion.
Okay, thanks so much, Professor Pramod Kumar Das sir, for your beautiful summary of the talk of Mishra sir. And with this, you have also put your observation on the entire talk. And may we now request Dr. K. Om Naran Rao for moderating the interactive session. Hello. Okay, Pramod sir. Hello, Pramod sir. Would we now request Professor Dr. K. Om Naran Rao for moderating the interactive session? Yes. Okay. So it's now time to invite Dr. K. Om Naran Rao to moderate the interactive session. Over to Dr. Rao.
Namaskar everybody. I should thank the speaker, Bhavani sir, for a very nice lecture, very nice speech. So he has really taken us to understand what spirituality is. Somehow or the other, we are touched with the religious practices, and we come on to feel as if we are in the spiritual way, which he denies and says, well, religious practices are one thing, they are the preparatory stages, and there are problems even in practicing religion. So religious practices, well, they may serve as a basis, they are not spiritual practices. In the real sense, they are the preparatory stages, and one has to be on the road to rightly observe the religious practices so that one can think of leading a spiritual life which comes on later on after a deep penance and practice, which is not that easy. And he also says meditation is easy and at the same time very difficult. It's very difficult to understand this. It is easy for those who have a craving for that, and it is difficult for those who simply act as if they have a craving. So this is a great message that he has given. So meditation is easy for those who have a craving for that, and it's very difficult in the real sense who so as if they have grown religious, as if they are spiritual, but in the real sense they are never spiritual. Thank you very much, sir. Now it's time for moderation. Now, well, I have a question in the chat box by Shravani Mishra Madam. She says, we are in this world. We are connected in this world. We are assigned with various duties in our lives. We cannot escape. We have to carry them. But at the same time, we have a craving of a spiritual star. How to achieve a sort of balance between the worldly affairs and the spiritual life. Over to Bhavani, sir.
So this is a common question which everyone asks, including myself, because I am also a family man, and we also run one architecture consultancy firm. So the clients, they also eat my head. Family, as you know, always problems. But what happens, you see, when you run one step towards God, walk one step towards God, God runs 10 steps towards you. गोटे पाद ठाकुर आड़ू बढ़ाओ 10 पाद ठाकुर दौड़ी आपण पाखु आसीबे. So start this sincere effort. Gradually what will happen, when God will see that you are very sincere in your intentions, gradually what will happen, your financial problems will vanish. Somebody will come in your life who will take care of your finance. Then gradually your food problem will be solved. Your shelter problem will be solved. And whatever issues, those who are there, which is pulling you down to this worldly life, gradually they will all vanish. I am not going to detail, but everything will vanish slowly. And ultimately, one day you will find, end of the day, that you are absolutely free to do your spiritual practice. So initially, try to do your balance, try to do your worldly duties and responsibilities that we call Swadharma Palana. Because in Chitta Suddhi also, Swadharma Palana is also one of the agenda. If you are a son of a worthy father, then Putra Dharma Palana is more important than God Annveshana. Then you have to see God in your father. Do a very sincere job. Serve your mother or father. If you are a husband, then Swamira Dharma Palana. If you are a wife, then Patni Dharma Palana. If you are a brother, then Bhatru Dharma Palana. But remember, as I said earlier, Sabbu jinsa kartuve. But inside your mind, gunu gunu eki chaltivo. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, something like that. Whichever God you think. Always, just imagine a housemaid who comes to your house to do the cleaning in the morning, but has a small baby. She leaves her baby in the house, in her house, comes to your house, do the house cleaning, but all those times her mind is on that baby. When my baby is alone in the house, I have to go back. Similarly, discharge your worldly duties, perform your Swadharma, but remember you have to find your father, actual father. So keep that attitude. God will definitely support you and help you and will create a situation like this where you will get a conducive atmosphere. But in between what will happen, there will be a lot of examinations also, tests also. And at the time you will say God, like end of the Hindi movie, Amitabh Bachchan will go and he will bang the head on the temple steps and he will say, "Hey Bhagwan, tune ye kya kiya, mere liye aisa kyun kiya, wo kiya, nahi." Lot of tests will be there. Because God has to ensure that whether you are really worthy or not, so that all the duties and responsibilities will be removed, so that you can only practice spiritual life and go to Him. So while discharging the duties, gradually when things are becoming smoother and smoother, in between sometimes some exams may come. So please be prepared for that. And don't blame God for that. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for a very nice response. So from this, I could understand that a man who goes on in the lines of his Swadharma as a father, as a brother, as a husband, so he is carrying on his Swadharma without thinking of whether he's a father or a brother or a husband, without a sense of agency, by eliminating or vanishing out that I. So slowly he will be finding God in every activity, because as you said, the moment I vanishes, God exists there. The moment you exist, God doesn't exist. The moment you vanish, God exists there. So justifying his act at every instance without a sense of agency, vanishing his own ego and finding himself nowhere, he will be finding God everywhere. So being connected in this world, he will find God everywhere. Thank you very much, sir, for a very spiritual recommendation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Really, it makes sense for having such an answer. We can find God in every act if sense of ego is lost and everything is towards God in carrying on our own Swadharma. Thank you very much, sir, for your very nice recommendation. Thank you, sir. So now we have very good speakers. We have Professor Ranjit Ghosh, sir. He is very active in this platform. I request him to make his observations and comments. Over to Professor Ghosh.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. On behalf of the philosophy family, I congratulate and my heartfelt thanks also to Bhavani Mishra Mohoday for giving such a nice explanation of the physiological process of spiritualism. Start from the very beginning. I have a problem. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, very much.
Yes. So, a lot of disturbance from the roadside. Okay.
No mind.
Thank you. So, etymologically, there is a difference between spiritualism and spirituality. Okay, spiritualism has been used in the West in a restricted way, and they take it as the relationship with the spirits and all those practices. But spirituality is something which is different. So there is no, as per my understanding goes, there is no mystery in spiritualism, because spiritualism is a theory, but there is a mystery in spirituality. I think you should think over it. That is one thing. And the next thing is this, that spirituality is a thing, a spiritual person consciously attempts to know the oneness of the universe. That is most important. And as you have nicely said, that a spiritual man, a man of spirituality is not a religious man, and a religious man is not a spiritual man, vice versa. So all these things. So religiosity and spirituality, they are two different things. Okay, we all admit it. Now, when you are bringing God, so here we find that God is the energy of love that created us and sustains us. So it is something like our Spinozistic concept of the intellectual love of God. Western philosopher Spinoza, a rationalist, he gave this type of explanation regarding the intellectual love of God. So why this is so? Because what is our intention? Our intention, so yoga is not yoga, meditation, all these things can be sidelined. So what should we do? We should practice. And what is that practicing? That inner bonding with others. We have to practice it by ourselves. Not, you have rightly said, not through any guru. So that practicing of inner bonding with others is coming from developing a love towards God, and only through God's kindness, we can do it by ourselves. This is one thing. And so far as another thing, you have very nicely referred to focusing on the pineal gland. I was actually thinking of pineal gland a few years back. So what is the importance of pineal gland? Now, pineal gland is that portion of the brain where there is no duality. Because you see, we have two eyes, two nostrils, two ears, but we hear only one sound, we smell one smell, and we see one object. So that is the pineal gland. So probably you have rightly mentioned that if we can focus on our pineal gland, that means again that oneness of things, that we have to bring our inner horizon into outside world so that we can make understanding with others, and that will cure all our anxiety, depression, shame, everything. This is my personal realization at this age. Thank you, sir.
Do you want me to say something on this, or it's okay? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir. Carry on.
Do you want me to say something on this, or you want to close the session now?
No. If you have something to comment on this, to explain this,
Okay.
you are welcome, sir.
Sir, you are such a learned and senior educationist and a professor. So I have no right or no, you can say, stature or no knowledge to say anything what you said. But I will just quote something from my Gurudev. Always, sir, try to refer books written by a God-realized saint on spiritual matters. You can read others' books, no problem. Just as reading a storybook. But it is very, very important. Swami Sivanandaji Maharaj has told us, like Robin Sharma has written something. Someone has written The Mongoose Sold His Ferrari. Fine, you're traveling by train, you read that book, it's all right. But as far as your real spiritual practice is concerned and spiritual informations are concerned, one should always books written by God-realized saints. Now the $1 million question is, who is a God-realized saint? Okay. Now that you will get the informations, because you will find, you know most of them. You know most of them. You read about Vivekananda, you read about Swami Ramatirtha, so many books are there. But you read something about people, those who are, right now having a big shop or a big factory going on in the name of spiritual life. You don't get the proper information because the experience is not there. What they said, actually, anubhuti au jagukanti paravachana au pravanjana. So paravachana. Second thing is that, spiritual life is oneness, seeing oneness with others. What you quoted. Now you tell me, sir, seeing oneness with others for the last 5,000 years we have been telling us. How many of us are seeing oneness with others? No. Now if I tell you, please be good, please don't hurt anybody, please don't steal others' money, please treat others like your brother, but nothing has happened. Why so many cases, so many murders? Because, very simple logic. When with your sixth sense, in your true eyes, your inner eye, you see that I look like a piece of red ball, and your neighbor also looks like a piece of red ball or a red man, and the other man also looks like a red ball, the crow looks like a red ball, and the dog looks like a red ball, that only there you will say oneness in soul and treat soul everyone. So how it is possible? It is not possible practice. This is only possible through realization, which requires different type of practice. So the gentleman who has written the book, maybe he's a great learned man, with all due respect to him, but he has not written it out of his own experience. So when I said, if you read the Kabir, beautiful things will come to know. Beautiful things. He says one place, आध्यात्मिक साधना is like lamba ped khajur, chade to jaake prem ras, gire to chaknachur. So it's a very difficult path. It's a very difficult path. But it is this moral education. I don't accept the concept of moral education because you can never be moral. Because then why these murders are not still stopping? Why this stealing are not stopping? Why this vandalism is not stopping? Because when you literally know that if someone is beating a dog and you get the marks on your back, whip marks, like it happened in Ramakrishna Paramahansa case, in case of Sindhi Sai Baba. If someone is eating food and you give the belch, when it happens, at that time you will know oneness of soul. It doesn't happen in practice. It happens only when you become God realized. Before that, you have to simply act, simply imitate. But it is not the actual feeling. You are. But by doing drama gradually, when you enter into a state and you get illumined, enlightened, then you know that everyone is one. Everyone is one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for yet another beautiful response. You tried to respond this from a very practical angle, from a very pragmatic angle, and from a real sense of really understand what exactly is spiritual practice and how there is a wide difference even in practicing the so-called religious observances. Even there is a problem with us. So when we talk much in theory, but even that theory is not really practiced. When we talk of oneness, but oneness is not realized. So when that difference exists, there is really a problem to elevate to that spiritual height, and that requires a lot of homework, not in interaction with others, at least at our own level, lot of homework has to be done, and it's only then we can take the issue of spiritualism to be, at least we can talk of it, but practicing spirituality is not that easy, and it has to take a lot of a lot of energy has to flow in so that we can transcend ourselves into the spiritual path. Thank you very much, sir, for your very good recommendations. Really a spiritually elevated man, and whatever he speaks from the experiences. That's how we are benefited. So a lot of practical advantage to that, and really what Professor Bose has pointed is really is a real issue that he has pointed out, and that is a question with all of us. And very nicely, from a practical angle, Bhavani sir has tried to answer this. So we are all benefited by the question, by the efforts of the question raiser and also the responder. So we are benefited both the ways. So thanks to both of you, sir. Thank you very much. Now, I don't see any more questions in the chat box, but if somebody is interested to ask something to the speaker, they are welcome. I'll be waiting for half a minute. If somebody wants to say something, want to have a clarification or have a poser, they are welcome. We can wait for half a minute. If not, then we'll move to the next part of this webinar. We'll wait for just half a minute. I don't think anybody. Well, Pramod sir wants to say something. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
I can speak only one sentence.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That what Bhavani sir said, that if you know, then you become. His talk starts and ends here. If you know, then you become. Brahmadit Brahmeva Bhavati. Similarly, if you know the truth, you become that truth. That becoming is spiritualism. Otherwise, that is your knowledge, that is your information, that is your qualification, that is your certificate, that is your institution, that is your library. But if you know hunger, then you feel that hunger within. If you know the truth, you become the truth. If you know the mystery of oneness, you realize that and you become identified with that truth. So when we transform our being from knowing to becoming, that is perhaps the real secret of spiritual being as I understood. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Mere knowing is not enough.
Yes.
But this is the secrecy of spiritualism.
Yes, this is the secret, but the problem is we know, but we don't become. So that is the problem with the modern man, and we need to come out of it. So thank you, Professor Ranjit Bose, Professor Pramod Das, and also, and most importantly, the speaker of today's webinar, Sri Bhavani Sir, for delivering such a nice lecture. I don't see any other questions in the chat box, nor I find anybody having any poser. It was a very clear lecture, a lot of things we learned. So I'm really thankful to the speaker, Bhavani Sir, for giving a great message, and we look forward for listening to him many more times in this platform. So thank you.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome.
I think Dr. Indira ji is there online. If I am correct,
Yes. Indira ji.
So Mataji, can you please switch on your camera? I want to see you.
Yes. She's always with us. She's always with us.
But I think our camera.
Mr. Indira Devi is always with
नमस्कार
us.
माताजी प्रणाम बहुत खुशी लगिला मुझे कि आपन मुखमंडल दर्शन हेलानी आ दुखर विषय आपण कोन माने कैमरा ऑन करे पोजीशन में नांदी की
ନାଇଁ ଅଛି ଯେ ବସିଛି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖୁଛି ମୁଁ ପରା ଟିକେ ଆପଣଙ୍କଠୁ ସବୁ ମେଡିଟେସନ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆପଣ କ୍ଲାସ ନଉଥିଲେ ସେଇଥିରୁ ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ଇନଭିଜିବଲ ହବା ପାଇଁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରୁଛି
so nice ନାଇଁ ମୁଁ ମାନେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମାନେ ଶୁଣିଲି ଏତେ ଦିନ ପରେ ମତେ ବହୁତ ଖୁସି ଲାଗିଲା ମୁଁ ଭାବୁଥିଲି ଟିକେ ଆପଣ ଦେଖିଲେ ବି ଖୁସି ଲାଗିଥାନ୍ତା ଆଉ ଟିକେ ଏନିୱେ
ହଁ ମୁଁ ଆପଣ ତ ଏବେ ଆସୁଛନ୍ତି ମୁଁ ବହୁତ ଖୁସି ବହୁତ ଭଲ ଲାଗୁଛି ଆପଣଙ୍କର ତ ସବୁବେଳେ ମୁଁ ମାନେ ବହୁତ ଆପ୍ରିସିଏଟ କରେ ଆଉ ଆପଣ ଜଣେ ମାନେ କଣ କହିବି ଆପଣ ଜଣେ ସୁପ୍ରିମ ସ୍ପିରିଚୁଆଲିଷ୍ଟ
ନାଇଁ ସେଟା ଆପଣ ଶରୀର ଭଲ ଅଛି ନା ନାଇଁ ଆପଣ ଶରୀର ଭଲ ଅଛି ଆପଣ ଶରୀର ଭଲ ଅଛି
ହଁ ଶରୀର ସରୁଛି ଆଉ କଣ
ହଉ ମା ମୁଁ ଆଉ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସହିତ କଥା ହେବି ଆଉ ବହୁତ ଖୁସି ଲାଗିଲା
ଶରୀର ସରୁଛି ସେଇ ହିସାବରେ ଭଲ ବନ୍ଦ ହଉଛି ଆଉ
ହଉ ବହୁତ ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ ବହୁତ ଖୁସି ଲାଗିଲା
ହଁ ବହୁତ ମତେ ବି ବହୁତ ଭଲ ଲାଗିଲା ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ
ମା ପ୍ରଣାମ
ହଁ ପ୍ରଣାମ
Now over to Dr. Kailas Mahana sir for carrying on the further proceedings. Over to Dr. Mahana.
Okay. It's the last part of our program. Okay, you have already offered your gratitude and proposed vote of thanks to Sir Bhavani sir and Ranjit sir and others. Okay, those have made the evening webinar very meaningful. And today we have no words to offer our gratitude on behalf of Philosophy family to our Mr. Sir for delivering such a nice topic. And today we have seen how Mr. Sir there is a real architect or divine architect, and how he is making his life divine by practicing the spirituality. Today, he has explored the meaning of the spiritualism and the secret behind the spirituality. Okay, that we have to know. And today, actually, it is a very good moment for all of us to know a new topic with a new approach, with a scientific approach, which has to be made in this time. Thank you very much. Thanks, Dr. K. Umnana, for beautifully moderating the session and offering the gratitude to Bhavani sir, who has made the webinar very meaningful. Today, we are speechless to listen his talk. And today, we also offer our gratitude to Pramod sir, who has invited Mr. sir to our platform. And he has offered us a chance, an opportunity to see him, to listen from him, and for making the Philosophy family, that is for presenting the Philosophy family with a nice person with us. Thank you very much. Now I request Pramod Kumar Das to point of discussion.
କେବଳ ଗୋଟିଏ କଥା କହିକିରି ଏଇ କ୍ଲୋଜ କରିବି ସଭାକୁ ସାର୍ ସବୁବେଳେ କହନ୍ତି, ଭବାନୀ ସାର୍ ସବୁବେଳେ କହନ୍ତି, ଆମେ ତ କଣ କଥା ହେଲେ କଣ ଡିସ୍କସନ କଲେ ତାହା ତ ବହୁତ ଦୂରର କଥା, କିନ୍ତୁ ଯୋଉ ସତ୍ସଙ୍ଗ ହୁଏ ତାହା ବହୁତ ବଡ କୃପା ଥିଲେ ହୁଏ। ସତ୍ସଙ୍ଗରେ ଯୋଉମାନେ ଉପସ୍ଥିତ ହୋଇପାରନ୍ତି ବିଭିନ୍ନ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ ବ୍ୟସ୍ତତା ଭିତରେ, ସେତିକି ଭଗବତ କୃପା ନଥିଲେ ସତ୍ସଙ୍ଗ ସମ୍ଭବ ହୁଏ ନାହିଁ। ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ବିଶ୍ୱାସ, ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ମନୋବଳ, ଇଏ ସ୍ପିରିଚୁଆଲିଟି। ଆମେ ଏକାଠି ବସିପାରିଲେ
Yes.
କିଛି ସମୟ କଥା ହେଇପାରୁଛେ ଏବଂ କିଛି ଆଲୋଚନା କରିପାରିଲେ, ଇଏ ଭଗବତ କୃପା ନଥିଲେ ହେଇପାରିବ ନାହିଁ। ଯେତେବେଳେ
ଠିକ 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 ପୁରା
ଜଣେ ସ୍ପିରିଚୁଆଲିଜିମରେ ଏଷ୍ଟାବ୍ଲିଶ୍ଡ ହେଇଯିବ, ତାର ସମସ୍ତ ଚିନ୍ତନ ଏହିପରି ହବ ଯେ ଏଭ୍ରିଥିଙ୍ଗ ଇଜ ପ୍ରି ଏଷ୍ଟାବ୍ଲିଶ୍ଡ, ଏଭ୍ରିଥିଙ୍ଗ ଇଜ ପ୍ରି ଡେଷ୍ଟାଇନ୍ଡ। That is, I am speechless. Anyway, we are all grateful to Sujukta Bhavani Shankar Mishra that he kept our request and delivered
ତାହେଲେ ବିନୋଦ ବାବୁ, ତାହେଲେ ଆମେ ଧନ୍ୟବାଦଟା କରୋନା କାଳକୁ ଦବାନି, ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଦବା, କାରଣ ଆପଣ ଆମମାନଙ୍କୁ ସବୁଠି ସବୁଦିନ ଏକାଠି ବସଉଛନ୍ତି ଏବଂ ସତ୍ସଙ୍ଗ କରୁଛନ୍ତି। ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ।
ନାଇଁ ନାଇଁ, ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କୁ
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
ଆମେମାନେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଯୋଉ ଏକତ୍ର ହେଇପାରୁଛେ ଏବଂ ରଞ୍ଜିତ ସାର୍ଙ୍କ ଠାରୁ ମଧ୍ୟ ଏତେ ସୁନ୍ଦର ସୁନ୍ଦର କଥା ବି ଶୁଣିପାରୁଛେ, ଏ ସବୁ ପଛରେ ଗୋଟେ ଭଗବାନଙ୍କର ଇଚ୍ଛା ଅଛି। ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇଜ ମାଇ ପଏଣ୍ଟ। ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ସାର୍।
ଆଉ ରଞ୍ଜିତ ସାର୍ ଆମକୁ ଅନୁପ୍ରେରିତ କରୁଛନ୍ତି। ରଞ୍ଜିତ ସାର୍ ଆମକୁ ଅନୁପ୍ରେରିତ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ଉତ୍ସାହିତ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଏ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକ୍ରମ କରିବା ପାଇଁ। ଆପଣ ଉପସ୍ଥିତି ଆମକୁ ଏତେ ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି ମୋରାଲ ସପୋର୍ଟ ଦଉଛି, ଆମେ ଭାଷାରେ ପ୍ରକାଶ କରିପାରୁନୁ ସାର୍।
ଏବଂ ଭବାନୀ
ନାଇଁ, ମୁଁ
ସାର୍
ଦର୍ଶନ ଚିନ୍ତା ମୋର ମାନେ ଅଭ୍ୟାସରେ ପରିଣତ ହେଇଯାଇଛି। ସକାଳେ ଯଦି କ୍ଲାସ ନେଇକି ସନ୍ଧ୍ୟାବେଳେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ବସିଲେ ମତେ ଭଲ ଲାଗୁଛି। ଚାଲୁ, ଯେତେ ଦିନ ଚାଲୁଛି।
Thank you.
ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ।
Now the meeting is closed. We are all grateful to Mr. Mishra.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We also should thank Kailas Mana sir for coordinating this event. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the meeting is closed.